Susan Roberti, and let's talk tail waggers. Welcome, welcome. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, learn how to do cameras, which is a lot of fun, even just go out and help with something out on the field, or just come up and watch and see what's going on. But the wonderful part of BPTV is that if you do have something that you really and truly are passionate about, and you're kind of shy, but you know, you talk to people a lot about it and you'd like to share it, this is a place to come. We're all volunteers. We all care about one another. It's just a really, really wonderful little corner of the world. So take a chance, stop up, talk to Dave Cable. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, and he will help you through the beginning parts. But trust me, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's a wonderful little corner of the world. So now I'm going to introduce my guest today, and you are
Deb Williams.
Deb Williams, and I am so glad you're here today, Deb. She's going to have a lot of interesting things, yeah, for us to hear. So she brought us some questions to ask. And now, how long were you in the service?
I was in the service 8.5 years.
Wow.
I was in the United States Air Force.
Wow.
I went in after college, so I have my college degree in nursing.
Wow.
And I went in as a nurse into the Air Force.
Oh, my.
I told you she had an interesting story.
Oh, wow. So where did you go?
First, going in as an officer. I went in as a second lieutenant, so I went to 2 weeks at officers training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita, Texas. And from there, I did a 6-month orientation in Biloxi, Mississippi at that air base, and decided that I did not want to birth babies, that I did better with people that had heart attacks or strokes and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that is my background, is people, intensive care, heart patients, transplant
Now,
patients.
what did you do when you got out?
Well, when I got out, I ended up trying to find a job I actually went to Richmond, Virginia, and worked there as a nurse on step-down units and intensive care and everything. Yeah, I love Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. That's for sure.
We used to live in Virginia. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It is.
It's a beautiful place. And then what did you do?
After I was there for 7 years, I ended up developing MS, multiple sclerosis. So I moved back home to my little town of Washington, PA.
But you're originally from here?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Washington is my home, so therefore I was close to my parents and my families,
friends.
just in case for support system.
Sure.
And that's why I use a cane now. His name is Stanley,
Oh.
and so Stanley goes with me.
I name everything too. I name my cars. You name, yeah. You have to.
yeah.
Then when I go to trade it in, I cry my head off because I have to let go of Marge. You know.
Marge. Mine was Mavis, my old pickup.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
what a nice person. So now, what are you up to?
Well, I retired my nursing license about 3 years ago because with the MS, I was no longer able to practice nursing safely and everything. So then I got into more volunteering at the American Legion. And then I also wanted some relaxation time that was time only for me. And I started volunteering at the Washington Area Humane Society 6 years ago as a cat cuddler. That is my title. So I have trouble walking, so I knew it wasn't feasible to do the dogs.
But those cats really need attention.
They
Yes,
need love
yes. They need
too.
socialized. They need the human touch. They need to know that they're not forgotten. Some of them come from hoarders' houses that are so many cats.
You know, that is such a sad disease. You know, those people really don't realize, you know, they're sick.
Right.
They really are.
Well, they start out, they just love the animals, and they can't say no.
No.
And pretty soon they're overrun.
And before you know it, you know, they have so many of them, and it's really tragic. And I know that people do know if their neighbors, you know, have a gazillion cats, or down the road and they drive past. And I don't understand why they don't call, you know, the Humane Society and say, you know, there's 15 or 20 cats or whatever, because you really don't want to worry about the human.
Right.
You know, you want to worry about the helpless.
Right.
And that's what they are. They have no idea that there could be a better life, you know, and the mummies are having so many babies and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to keep your eyes open,
Yes.
you know, and call and say that, because Logan, his name's Logan.
Logan.
Right? He could just drive past even,
Right.
you know.
I'll
and
bet
see-
you do get a lot of those calls, don't you? At
Yes,
the
they
Humane
do get a
Society?
lot of calls. A lot of people drop animals by, especially when kitten season or
That's
puppy
coming
season
up.
comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not far off. They'll just
Yeah.
drop off a box of kittens and just leave them there. And
Why do you not want to stay there and build a house inside there and live there?
sometimes
you
I
do
would.
live there practically.
Sometimes I
Aw,
would.
what a good
Yeah,
lady
But I
you
had
are.
an experience at my church in Washington where one Sunday somebody dropped off 5 little black baby kittens. They weren't old enough to be away from their mother. It was on Mother's Day. And it was so sad because they looked at me, my pastor looked at me and said, "Deb, you need to find a home for these. You volunteer at the Humane Society." And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I put them in a box. Somebody had tried to give them milk. They didn't know how to
No,
drink milk.
drink.
So I put them in a box, tucked them in my car during church service. Then I took them down to the Humane Society. And they worked with them. Unfortunately, a couple of them passed because they were too young. But there is still one down there. Her name is Ivy. And she's been there. It'll be 2 years on Mother's Day. And
Ivy needs a home.
Ivy needs a home.
Yeah.
She really
Oh.
does. She's a beautiful black little girl.
And what they go through.
Yes.
Kitty cats, huh?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
It's traumatic. Up on Industrial Boulevard up there, this was years ago, it's not anymore, but people just dropped cats off.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done shows, I don't know how many times, and have said that a cat's life, just, throw it out, it can catch mice and it can this or that. It's not true.
No.
And then they mate, and it's a violent mating, and then she has her babies. Well, he goes away, and then she'll have him up underneath the car up there, you know, or wherever, truck, and then she has to go out and get food, and so that she can nurse them. Then when they get older, she has to bring them back and teach them, you know, how. It's a horrible. I ask, please, please don't go, oh, I'm just going to drop them off because they're a cat and they can take care of themselves. They can't. The kitty cats of 100 years ago, yes, but not the kitty cats of this time, because they've been domesticated. And then when they come from a domesticated cat, they don't know how to do those things. So please, please. So how many days a week do you go there?
I actually go 1 day a week, and that is my time.
Yeah.
I don't let anybody call me or
Aw.
anything, and I am just in heaven, being there, socializing with the cats, trying to get them more adoptable,
Yeah.
because cats love unconditionally, but cats also have their own personality.
They do.
So some of them, especially from the hoarders' houses or the little ones, even the older ones, they're so confused. And in fact, I adopted one cat, or he adopted me, and his name was Whiskers. He had been at the shelter 2.5 years.
Oh, that's such a
And
long
nobody looked at him, wanted him. He wouldn't come out of his cage or anything. So I would pet him in his cage, talk to him and everything. And you know how mothers talk to their babies and goo everything.
Yeah, it's all
But
baby talk.
the cats and animals, they love that touch. They love being talked to
Sure
and
they do.
everything. So finally Mr. Whiskers came out of the cage, and we used some catnip to try to tempt him to come out, and he ended up coming and sitting on my lap. And I was the only person, volunteer
do.
or staff, that
He picked you.
he picked me.
Aw.
I was his person.
Yes.
So
You're
I-
meant to have certain animals for
Right.
sure.
right.
They pick you.
Yeah, and
They
Mr.
really
Whiskers now is at my house. He's been there, it'll be 3 years next month. And so
Living
he'll
large.
be 14.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. The babies, the cats rule and mama drools.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, they
yeah.
are the run of the household, you know, when they're hungry, when they need love or whatever. But also, on the other hand, it's an unconditional love.
It is.
And with me, you know, if I have a down day or something, I have one cat that will come and he'll actually put his head next to mine on the pillow, and he comforts me.
Yeah, they
So,
purr.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I-
animals are a
Oh,
stress release,
They're
and the
everything.
Pets for Vets program.
And kitty cats are not sneaky. That's one of the things that I hear from people. That, you know,
Oh.
I don't like cats, they're sneaky. Yeah, really, you don't know, huh, Susie? How
people
many
do
ti-
say that, but
how
it's
many times we
they're
hear.
not. They just have to protect themselves.
Yeah, and I
Right.
say, well, what happens if you were out in the wilderness after somebody threw you out and you had 5 or 6 babies and you have to feed them? What are you going to do? Run through the woods and go, I'm here, I'm here. You know, they have to be quiet
Right.
so that they can go get their food and bring it back for the babies. You know,
Right.
it's just in them. They're not sneaky. They're the furthest thing in the world, you know. And when they go down like this and their little handies go like this and their bums go up in the air and they play.
Yeah.
I know, I have 2 of them. There's
Yeah. I have 5 of them.
good for you.
And 4 of them I have adopted from the Washington Area Humane Society. So 3 I actually adopted all in one day. 2 were 6-month-old kittens, and 1 was an older cat that had been in a hoarder's house. And his name is Mr. Ranger. And all he did was hide under his blankets and everything. Now he comes out, he's personable, you know, he makes love eyes at me and
Yeah.
everything.
So you're the perfect person to be down at the Washington Area Humane Society because you're also on the board of directors, I
Yes.
hear.
Yes.
Yes, I am a new board member.
Congrats.
And she,
Thank you.
congratulations. And she just loves animals and loves those cats. And that's what it takes because I think years ago, which happens everywhere, there can be people on the board that don't get directly involved with what they're doing. And you're
Yes.
in there, so you know what's going on, and then you're part of the solution down there, which is great.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I like to socialize not only with the animals but with the staff and management so that there is communication, that, you know, if I see something that's going on with one of the cats and a health issue, at least I can bring it to the staff's attention.
Yeah,
And
see, that's
everything.
really good that you're in the.
Doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the American Legion? Aren't you one of the big wigs?
I am actually the adjutant down at the American Legion, which is like a secretary, but a person that kind of runs the post and everything, tells the commander the agenda for the meetings. I do membership. I'm also an auxiliary member, so I'm very involved with, I'm called a dual member. So I like to help the veterans, and I promote the Pets for Vets.
Oh,
And
thank you.
if somebody does need an animal or is looking for a pet, I say, well, go down to the Humane Society. There's a lot of ones that
Thank
need.
you.
And being a veteran, a lot of veterans can identify with another veteran. So if anybody comes in the shelter, I'll say, hey, are you a veteran? And they'll say, oh, yeah, how did you know? And it's like, well, kind of veterans know each
See,
other.
she's our angel down there
Sure she
at the
is.
Washington Area Humane
Oh,
Society.
my.
So if you're a veteran, just remember this is what we're talking about. You can go to the Washington Area Humane Society and take your DD 214 and just say, Susie and Susie sent you, and you can adopt at no charge. You'll go through the regular screening and checking and everything to make sure, you know, that you're a suitable
And then
person.
you get a year of free wellness, too.
A free wellness.
Yes, that goes along with it. And it's, you know, Pets for U.S. Vets is just perfect. You know,
It's
because
a perfect storm.
Yeah,
It really is.
you make the veteran happy, and the animal is happy. You bring them together, and the veteran feels special because they don't have to pay for it.
And they know that we care.
And
you know,
we
and it's
care.
not so much about the money, it's just that we want to give back, because
That is it.
there's nothing more important in our country, and I have to tell you this, and thank you,
With all our heart.
for our veterans. We wouldn't be safe every single day of our lives if it weren't for our veterans. And unconditional love from the animals, it's just the perfect situation. And you know, just the animals are spayed, neutered.
And I think when they're told that they'll get their pet for free, they kind of feel special.
And they need to feel special.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
it makes us feel special, making them feel special.
Special. And
Right.
it just goes round
It goes
and
round,
round and round. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm so glad that you're here and that you're down there, because you do understand vets.
Yes.
Because you are one.
Yes.
So you understand how they feel, and then you can see a dog, and maybe that dog's good for this person,
Right.
and yeah, because I can see in your eyes, you know.
Susie's really good at picking out people's personalities and auras. I've noticed that about her.
goes around, yeah.
She can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's how I felt when I met you at the spaghetti dinner. Deb was working the takeout, and
She was so impressed.
I called Susie right away. I said, "Oh, I got somebody on the show that's going to be so
Yeah, she
so
was so
great."
impressed.
But it was just, I could tell right away how much you cared for the animals. And then when you said you were a veteran in the Air Force, I knew.
Yeah.
That
and
this
then,
was
then
meant
you're
to
on the
be.
board down there, and I think the Washington Area Humane Society has really come a long way. You know, because I've 20 years I've been doing my shows, and 20 years I've been always saying at the end of my shows about them, and their little newspaper, I used to go out in the park and sit and just read it, you know, all about, you know, the Washington Area Humane Society. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to be.
Right.
And it makes you happy, I bet, when you go down there, and then when you leave, you feel kind of special, huh?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I've done some good for
Yeah.
the animals and
Yeah.
everything, and then, you know, because some of them are still there. There's some that have been there for over 2 years.
Ivy needs a home. If somebody's looking for a cat. Oh, last month, Fez was on your show.
Yeah.
Fez got adopted.
Fez got
Yeah.
adopted, so yes, and he was the cutest little guy in the whole world. He was so big like this, and his mother died, and so the neighbors called, you know, and they went and picked him up.
And he got it.
And he was groomed and taken care of perfection. You could just tell. You know, he's part poodle and schnauzer, and just a sweetie pie. And we were talking back and forth, and Lynette and I, and he started circling in the middle of the floor. And we said to the young lady that was there, "How about you take him outside?"
He kept asking. He
Yeah.
kept saying, "I have to go."
So she took him outside, and he came back in, and Lynette said, "Did he go potty?" And she said, "Yes." And Lynette and I both went, "He's potty trained."
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
know?
that- yeah,
so
he got
you
a
could
home.
come get him because he's potty trained.
Right.
So he got a home.
That it was so that's what the great thing is about BPTV, that you can come on and we're just like regular people. And just say what you have to say and try to get good news out, because we hear so much bad news. And there are more good people out there than there are bad. It's just that the good people are busy doing things like this. We don't have time to be out there causing a ruckus or anything, because we're
Yeah.
busy doing stuff.
Now, how do you think that the pets help the veterans?
Well, I know as a veteran, I've always had pets. I've always had cats because I grew up on a farm. And even in the military, I had animals when I was stationed overseas in the Philippines. Down in Alabama, I had a cat. So therefore, they always comfort you. They relieve stress. I mean, when you come home after a busy, hard day at the hospital, and dealing with people, you are glad to have somebody that loves you unconditionally. And
it's hard when
you
dealing
first
with people.
when you first move there to your new station, and then when you find a kitty cat, you got a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
It's family.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
An animal is family.
Aww.
I didn't have children, so the cats are my family, and you take care of them just like family, and they give back to you. So it's a win-win situation.
And people that don't like animals, this is one of my this is one of the reasons I do have my show, is to try to get one person that doesn't like animals to understand, how wonderful they are. And even a bird, we have a friend, John Legee, he was the man with the birds, and he would always come and do a show, and he had birds that never flew away. If you could ever meet, he just passed away a few days ago, but he would be outside holding these birds, and they never left him.
Well, he came to the dog parties. He helped me raise money because he was a two-time Vietnam veteran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he was a small in stature man, but he was a big man. He had over 100 rescued birds.
He'd go all over the United States. They would call him
and
to go get a bird. And some of the stories were just... in fact, you'll be running those after... after your show's on,
Okay.
then I'm going to... every week I'll do another a show, and then next week another show. I'm going to do, memory of them, 4 different shows.
Oh, that's great.
But he'd set up this beautiful thing that you were in Africa, But those birds would not leave him.
No.
And people would say, "Do you clip their wings?" And he'd go down to the center.
Like the Pet Expo?
Yeah. And he'd have them everywhere, 50, 60, 70 of them. And they'd sit on perches, and they'd never leave him. So, like you with your kitties, they know, and he saved, every single solitary one of those birds. He had, I think it was 108.
Yeah.
And he had his bird aviary. Now, he has a gentleman that will take it over now, but Susie and I are keeping it together today for the show. But I will miss him.
I just can't believe he's gone.
I can't believe he's gone.
I know.
But and his big bird, he'd hold him Harley, and Harley would put his wings out. Oh my God, like a god, and he'd look up at him, But he passed away a year ago, and he went into a real deep depression.
Yeah.
And then he got sick after that, and just passed away. I got to get another thing. We don't want to waste too much time.
That's right. The Vietnam vets are the ones that are currently the most prevalent because the World War II vets, the Korean vets are dying off. And the Vietnam vets still suffer from when they returned back to the United States and the way they were treated.
Yeah,
what about Agent Orange?
Yeah.
And the Agent Orange is a big thing right now where they're getting diagnosed with cancer.
Does it seem to you that I've known several Vietnam veterans that passed away around the age of 60. Is that common?
Yes.
They planned it that way.
Yeah.
I still say the government did. I have 3 brothers. They were all in the service. And my youngest brother went to Vietnam. And he came back, and he just wasn't
Not the
Richie
same.
anymore.
Right.
He's a good person and has family and married and everything. But as his sister, he's just not that person anymore,
Right.
down deep inside. And I don't think some of them ever get over that. And
No.
you have to understand that.
And that's why we want to give back. That
That's
because
why.
the most important thing, and you are just so important to us.
You are. You're
Thank
part.
you.
You are
You
part of Let's Talk Tailwagger family forever.
Now you are. You're part
Okay.
of the family, so you have to come back. Once we get you here, you don't get to leave.
No, you
Okay.
never get to leave.
It's like Hotel California.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you ever have anything that is special that
Mm-hmm.
you would like to come on, and talk about, all you have to do is give me a call or an
Okay.
email, and I'll get you on somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Because you're very, very important. I hope you realize that.
And
You
we
really
appreciate
are.
so much that you promote the Pets for U.S. Vets at the shelter. And if people make a donation, I wanted to mention that the code that you need to put on your check is, the name of this is Pets for U.S. Vets, but the actual code for the bookkeeper is U.S. Pets for Vets. So the U.S. is first on the code. And that way it'll go right into the bookkeeping
Into the
system.
bookkeeping. Yeah, that's new. I didn't know that.
U.S. Pets for Vets on the
US
check.
Pets
Yeah.
for
And where would they send that money?
They just send it right to the Humane Society,
Okay.
and then
earmark it for that.
I would earmark it for, like, I earmark everything for Lynette because I know Lynette, and I know, I don't know the other ones real well. But if you send money for the Pets for U.S. Vets program, just put U.S. Pets for Vets on your check. Put a little note in there that you want it to go into that account, and it goes straight in there. And I think the average cost is about $100, Lynette said. So every $100 that anybody could send in, that is an animal getting out of there and going to a veteran.
And a veteran's happy. That's what makes me so happy. It's because the doggy's wagging his tail and the vet's walking out the door, and they put them together. Now, are you getting ready for the kittens for the spring?
Well, I'm always ready for kittens. I love the little ones that just fit in the palm of your
I know.
hand and everything.
Oh my
yeah.
God! Oh my
Because
God!
all of my ones at home are adults. So the largest one I
twitters.
have is almost 20 pounds. And then I do have one that runs about 7 pounds.
Well, is it April, like when they start?
Usually about April
Yeah,
is when they start.
having the babies, and then they get overloaded.
Right, but we've had kittens all winter long too because of the warm winter. We really didn't get a break. Somebody dropped off 5 Siamese-looking kittens.
I saw them online.
Are they just precious? Oh, they are just. I have to go down and see them first and everything.
You know you want to go down there.
But there was only one little girl left, so she hadn't gotten fixed yet. But yeah.
But see, and that's another nice thing about the Washington Area Humane Society. They don't go out of there unless they're fixed.
Right.
Now, they used to, back when I used to be on the board back in 2000, I think it was, around there. And you could take them, but, you were supposed to bring them back to...
Right.
Yeah, and get them fixed.
But then they realized that didn't work because a
Right.
lot of people didn't
Do it.
didn't do it, and then they had a litter. So they're spayed or neutered. They're up to date on shots. They're socialized. They're defleed.
Microchip.
And they have this dearest name.
And they have this professional cat
Down there
cuddler.
kissing and hugging and,
Right.
and loving them, and they're used to being handled.
Right.
So guess what? It's time to say goodbye. And I love you. Don't forget the Washington Area Humane Society. They need sheets, towels, blankets, anything you can't give to the homeless and you don't want to throw away. Send it to them because truly they need it for puppies and operations and all that good stuff like that. I want to thank all of you when I see you in the store and you have such sweet things that you say, and our conversations are really appreciated. But most of all, thanks from all the tail waggers.